The content of this episode may not be suitable for some audiences. Listener's discretion is advised. Welcome to the place of rest, where our aim is to give you language that helps you displace the growing confusion, chaos, and dis-ease of our times. In today's episode, Virginia discusses how rest exposes the anatomy of our cultural descent, reconciling the competing narratives of our world, our family lineages, and our central nervous system to restore internal liberty and divine coherence to our soul. We hope you enjoy today's conversation.
This month, we're getting deep into heritage. And I just want to remind everyone, the pilgrimage is our actual walk, the movement through time to something sacred. And it is usually our pilgrimage is highly inspired and motivated, right? By these hopes, these dreams, these fears, these passions. It's the heritage that we've inherited. So this month, we're going to get deeper into where that comes from and what that is and all of that. I think that rest is more critical right now than it ever has been. We're living in a generation subjected to unprecedented, compounding confusion, chaos, and dis-ease that impacts every single facet of our lives, health, and relationship. Think about it. When there's confusion, chaos, and dis-ease, you're in a state of disease and illness, which explains much of why we find ourselves in the state we're in. And somebody's benefit from compounding our confusion and our chaos. Conversations around this topic of mental health for this reason have become very near and dear to my heart, as the mind is a function of the soul, the heart, the will, the conscience, the feelings of a person. As you likely know, mental health is officially the number one health crisis we're facing in America today. We see adults and children alike medicating their pain, any number of things, with substances and recreational things, toys, technology, you name it, and taking their life, by the way, in unprecedented rates, either literally or figuratively, numbing themselves with anything that can help them escape what they're experiencing. But there's great hope in understanding the principles behind what's happening, because principles are absolute. We all have good ideas, but principles are absolute. They are self-evident and they speak to our natural affections. They unify us. That's why principles are important. Ideas are valuable, of course, but principles are important. They unify us. They don't divide us because they're absolute and without contradiction. They can be reasoned through. Today, we invite you on this pilgrimage to rest and freedom by introducing and building on just one of these universal principles, which is life. It requires little or no thought. It's easy to understand and without contradiction. Our very anatomy, when you think about it, bears witness of this inborn intelligence network. A simple paper cut bears witness of this universal principle of life. And because we are human beings, not human doings, this is very accessible to us. We have to understand, what does it mean to be? We get what doing is, but what does it mean to really be? What is our anatomy? What's our constitution made of? The mission of REST, this reconstitution method, is to invite individuals of all ages and all walks of life to experience and live in the freedom of wholeness. Once you know, you become familiar with your very constitution, your spirit, your soul, and your body, this is very accessible. In short, we displace throughout the course of these modules, the confusion, chaos, and dis-ease, and every one of those realms that is causing your system, your spirit, your soul, your body, and it shows up in relationships and institutions, right? To break down. We analyze why. REST isn't a rigid template. It is a data-driven, evidence-based, proven process. It's a framework from which we reason together. And because our focus is on the specific need of you, the individual, the algorithms are specifically designed and customized to put meaningful information and useful information into your hands to meet your specific needs. So where there's confusion, chaos, and dis-ease in your spirit, your soul, or your body, you're going to find the resources to displace it here. This application is built to distinctively, exclusively, and singularly work for you and serve you according to what you can bear, rather than trying to fit general and standardized academic data points and information into a small box that is meant to appeal to the masses. We tailor and individualize these clips and the information we're going to be giving to you so that you can use it to suit your needs. So the individual struggle is a need for freedom, the deepest yearning of our souls to be free. No matter who you are or what culture you come from or where you reside globally, we share common humanity, a common race. Think about it. Who stands to gain by dividing us according to race, demographic, income levels, you name it? We are part of a common race, a human race, and a common design, spirit, soul, and body. We know what it feels like to have an unexpected personal crisis take our very breath away. When you are in that dark, isolated place, it is easy to fixate purely on the symptoms, the external things, right? The evidence that something's wrong. Whether it is a collapsing relationship, a toxic habit, a financial chaos, or disruptions, or a failing body, right, that starts to break down. We all can relate to that. When we spend decades micromanaging these external conditions that inform our lives, chasing temporary quick fixes or conventional checks, we are left fundamentally exhausted. You may say to yourself, I don't even know what deep tranquility looks like, Virginia. I don't know what rest really means because I've been running all my life. Really, when I stop and think about it and I see an invitation to rest, I don't even know what that would look like for me. Well, I want to say this. True healing begins the moment you stop running from yourself and start pursuing an understanding of what liberty means, your capacity to self-govern. If you want your system to recover, you can't merely pursue a transactional physical cure. You must expand your target inward, internal liberty. I'm going to break down what I've been kind of throwing out there. Biological downloads, okay? Why does the body eventually express structural illness, chronic pain, or mental gridlock? Because our central nervous system runs hot from a lifetime of hidden, unaddressed internal trauma. The conversation is always between the existential, spiritual, your mind, your heart, your will, your conscience, your feelings. In my practice, I have observed a direct mathematical connection between the physical disease and the ungrieved narratives that our soul carries. Think about it. There is so much stuff that you have that you don't talk about, things that you don't say. As long as an emotional, relational conflict remains psychological, trapped in here, in the soul, psychological, and it's stuck in the soul, soul, mind, heart, will, right? Negotiated within your minds, heart, will, conscience, and feelings. You're not physically sick. You become physically ill the exact moment that conflict becomes a biological download into your body tissues by the autonomic brain. In other words, by and large, the anatomy of your brain, you're set up to have these filters, if you will. And these filters are the systems that you have an opportunity to clear things up. But if you don't, the biological download is going to go into your tissues by the autonomic brain to solve a problem that you've been ignoring. Your body keeps an incredibly honest score. Your body does keep the score. as Dr. Bessel van der Kolk so clearly explains. Your body keeps an incredibly accurate score. Physical toxins accumulate in your organs exactly where the emotional and relational toxins have gathered over time. Anger settles in your liver and digestive tracts. Fear hits your kidneys, your bladder, and your adrenals. And deep-seated sadness or bitterness collects in your colon and in your pancreas. When you speak a lie or bury a secret, that raw energy and light frequencies in your cells, guess what they do? They drop. Your physical body simply will not cooperate with a lie.
Are you listening to today's episode yet feel the tug of modern confusion in your life? Virginia has spent decades helping individuals unwrap complex systems to find clarity, order, and ease. In order to move from simply listening to a broadcast into experiencing a conversation, we discovered a space to gather, ask questions, and expand our reasoning together. That is why R.E.S.T with Virginia Dixon is officially expanding to Substack. We are inviting you to step out of passive consumption and join us at virginiadixon.substack.com. Right now, on our platform, you can post your questions about these episodes, learn the laws of nature and self-evident truths that speak to our natural affections, and discover how to secure external freedom by accessing internal liberty through exercising self-governance with Virginia. Don't forfeit your personal government to the noise of a chaotic world. Subscribe today at virginiadixon.substack.com. Join the conversation and let us heal the heart of this generation together.
By way of education, R.E.S.T invites you to develop a deep understanding of things that you already have knowledge of. Remember, your body's carrying a lot of information. So this education is developed to give you a spine of steel and to help you make sense of practical things that you can do to become an agent, an advocate of your own wellness. This app is designed to help you think and reason, if you will, governmentally in the context of direction, regulation, control, restraint. Okay, Virginia, I know the parts, right? But what does that mean? What do I do with this information? That's the definition of government. You governmentally begin to think about your condition differently. Our framework is supported by a spine of steel rooted in absolute principles, not just passing ideas. An idea is something that merely tickles our temporary curiosity. And it's certainly a vehicle through which, by which, in which we communicate feelings about many things, right? And emote. We can emote through the communication of ideas. Principles are different. Principles are absolute. They're entirely without contradiction. They're self-evident, even to a child. They appeal directly to our natural affections as human beings, not human doings. We examine the deep structural foundations of confusion, chaos, and disease in your spirit, your soul, and your body. And when I say we, I'm giving you the framework, but you've got all the resources to do it. Why? Because you're the expert on you, believe it or not. Do not relinquish authority over your sovereignty to anybody. How we achieve it. This is how we fearlessly embrace the absolute truth by evaluating our individual experiences through laws of nature. A law of nature is absolute. It's without refute. It's absolute. It's universal. It's common to every man. And that is what? They have sovereignty over their own experiences and their current life and their future. What? This is self-evident. Of course it's self-evident. It's obvious to all, right? That we all have sovereignty and personal responsibility about ourselves and not just when it's convenient. And these things appeal to natural affection. What's a natural affection? Something resonates. There's frequency. There's resonance. There's a vibration to truth, and it appeals to all of us. So those three laws are universal. Laws of nature. They're obvious, and they're absolute and without contradiction. And they speak to our natural affection. That's our innate human need to be, what is it? What is universal? We have an innate human need to be seen, heard, understood, and to be loved. Why? Because we're sovereign. We're individual. There isn't two people like us. So why are we accepting standardized approach to anything? There's nothing standard about you. There's nothing ordinary about you. So by way of summary and practical action steps, I just want to say that years ago, popular culture coined a highly destructive terms. In my opinion, it's been highly destructive. And it goes something like this: my truth, compounding a modern delusion to a critical mass. I'm telling you that as a clinician, working with many doctors in many walks of life, many demographics, many nationalities, and many licensed healthcare practitioners and workers, this statement is a flat out lie. There is nothing, it has no bearing on reality. There's your opinion and my opinion, but there's one truth. And we all tirelessly seek to find it in the field of what we call allopathic medicine. We live in a world of possibilities, but we're looking for what is going to help a person heal. And we don't live in the world of opinions to pursue that. We're wild in wonder and curiosity, but not opinions. There is no such thing as your truth. There is only your personal opinion versus absolute objective reality. If we insist on advancing our opinions as truth, we will never enter into deep, systematic, restorative, reconstructive rest. Words matter. One of the fun exercises we do around here is we prove it to people. Thoughts have power and words have authority. Prepare yourself in this hostile political climate, times of deep confusion, chaos, and disease, when everyone insists on expressing and living according to their truth. There will be casualties of war because you are sovereign. As a man thinks in his heart, so he is. Your opinions are important, but truth is absolute. Healing is not a passive accident. It is an intentional act of will to drop your exhausting external laboring and choose to safely be. Stop doing and become. Action steps. I want to leave you with a few thoughts. I want to invite you to pause your frantic daily routine. Go to a quiet, totally still place where you will not be interrupted. Look at your life. What would it be like if you could look at your life through a wider prism and reason? If you find yourself in a confusion or quietly blaming your circumstances, look closely at that dynamic. Trace it backwards. Move backwards and ask yourself the foundational diagnostic question. Where's the lie? The only diagnostic question that I will ever ask yourself to really ponder is, where's the lie? Listen closely to that quiet, still voice of your deepest convictions. Journal what you hear or write it down on a receipt, on a piece of paper, on a napkin. And let's begin this journey of bringing it into the light. Not just that one lie that came to you, but many, 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 many intrusive lies that follow.
We hope listening to this episode has brought you closer to experiencing the freedom of wholeness and healing. If you have questions or comments about today's episode, or for updates about R.E.S.T, please visit our Instagram or Facebook at The Place of R.E.S.T. If you would like more information about Virginia, or to support and join the cause of R.E.S.T, please go to theplaceofrest.com/donate or call 949-289-5935. Thank you for listening to Rest with Virginia Dixon. We'll see you next week.